What's up everyone, this is Sher talking, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a return to form. I want to talk about my account. This is an account update and I hope you guys enjoy. I'll be talking about how the game changes since I started playing. I started playing back when the game opened for very specific regions. It was like 1 or 2 weeks before the real global launch, and I still love the game. It's still an amazing game that reminds me of some other games I love, it like Ogre Battle and even Tactics Ogre. Because of the class change, of the styles, and also because of, well, characters performing a limited number of actions based on their jobs or their styles here. So I want to talk about the characters that I have been using, the characters that I stopped using, the characters that I got recently, and everything else. Well, as you can see here, we have plenty of characters. Gray's on the top because of the recent event. I don't use him as much. I'm using Beauty a lot since I got her last version. Yes, I got. It was like on the 14 multiple, but yes, I got her. I trained Evelyn recently. I really like Evelyn as well. It's just very close to the potential of Global X, Rock Bouquet, save for the lack of healing and the lack of nuke potential, but still okay. Leon's still as good as he was when I got him back with the original Global X banner. This guy just won't stop being useful, ever. A character that just got so strong also that I didn't know it was supposed to be so strong is Xenon. But the case here is a little different because they gave us Lightspeed Plus later, after he was released. If I knew that, I would just classify the Xenon as the best of his banner. Back on his release, there was this Xenon and also this Polka, and I said that Xenon was a little better only, but actually he's way better than this Polka because Polka is pretty good, very powerful if you have inheritance, but a little easier to replace. Using the Xenon with Lightspeed Plus has been very nice in recent challenges. Since the newest challenges, they are removing all your debuffs. Matriarch is as good as she was and even better because of UDX. This UDX Matriarch made me stop using a little of Leon or Mirza, but recently Mirza has been useful again because enemies were weak to Sun or Slash. I am not finding Mirza here, but let's go back here and check the characters that are still on the top. Madeleine, well, this version of Madeleine, we knew that she was kind of too aggressive and kind of suicidal, but she is working in plenty of scenarios where you can stack agility buffs, and it's pretty nice to have a character that just does so much damage, and even in farming situations she works, just not for bosses unless, yeah, you can stack. I recently got to use Genryu again. This game is just like very fun. Sometimes a character is on this max potential, you were using Genryu and Joe together when they were launched, but then after some time they stopped releasing enemies or events that were weak to cold and heat. They just started releasing a lot of content weak to Blunt, a lot of content weak to Sun, and then a lot of content weak to Slash, and sometimes you stop using characters because of that. Also, some characters that I used a lot recently were the Pierce-based characters, and I love my Pierce characters, and it's so strange since Pierce was the thing that we were lacking the most on the start of the game. Now I have all versions of Claudia that matters. I don't have the summer one. I also have the Yukata one. I play with Coppelia more than with Red, and in my tier list I'll be downgrading them because I know that they are good, but then after the release of Saruin, it just does not make much sense to keep some damage dealers on the top anymore, and just the characters that just makes the game change, at least mechanically. I play with Fornews a lot because I love the character, I love having a monster to play, and I got, while on the 14 multiple as well, the human version of him. It's still not trained, but yeah, this is another character that's Pierce-based and works pretty fine. I love Yunzin because she just has a very good rotation, can use Ring of Life without being a waste like the very first surfing version was, and all global styles have something unique on their own. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. Another character that made me rethink was the Christmas Leonardo. I still don't know if he is on the top, maybe not. I'll see it later. There's also Shira, another character that's just so amazing by sprite art that you just have to get. Let me see other characters that I have been using a lot. I still use Rapina a lot. Minerva just won't ever be left off my boss fights because Minerva just does so much damage. She's one of the best characters for boss fights in Pierce damage. Really love Minerva. I got my Final Emperor kind of close to max caps, and he's still performing pretty well with double sun slash 2 times and raids and things like that. Still performing high potential, although he does have some competition with Christmas Rapina for AoE farming now that this girl here is just destroying content. Holy Shining Sword is just very close to what you do with Joe. It's even more powerful, it's just that, well, Slash and Sun are a little more common than having Heat and Cold on the same team. Emilia is still useful for a lot of stuff. I really like this character, in having Bullet Dance was also useful in plenty of events. I don't stop using Emilia, it's not because of it's a favorite, it's just that she became a little timeless with this version, and yeah, I kind of expected that because the power was just so high. One character that I stopped using as much was Mac. It's because of the rotation of the weaknesses of enemies, I know that. Creator, I use him here and there, depends on the enemies. Yes, he's always close to max status for me. Really like this sprite art of this character as well. Fuse is not being used right now because there's been some time since the last event had a need for AoE blunt, usually single target blunt recently. Yeah, depends on the events that you have, so some characters stay on the bench for some times. Sif is still pretty powerful, got recently a double S weapon. Really love this character, really powerful. I don't use this one anymore, but I do know that there are strategies where you can use Wave, especially on raids, and it's just that, well, I don't find a way to feel her in my teams anymore. Slime and Golden Ball, I made a review about her and I said that she was amazing for boss fights and would just create new strategy. And yes, it's true. I'm using Golden Ball a lot and I see how she will be useful in the future. And not just her, another one that's just so beautiful and, I mean, just so useful is Princess White Rose. Yeah, this Princess White Rose here is still very useful and I cannot see myself stopping using her. I got the blue one that I didn't really want, only use it once for real, but all the other occasions I wanted to use the Halloween version. Just so useful character that people just summon when reruns because it's an important piece of strategy. A character that just made me rethink about was Shendul, because when Shendul was released, it already had Matriarch and Alazar as much older people that care about hard challenges. But we also use it buffers with debuffers, but now debuffers are just losing their territory. Bosses can cleanse the debuffs that you apply, and sometimes they just buff themselves so much that the buffing does not really help out that much. And Shendul is another piece of a character that can be used together with Matriarch and Owl's daughter to try to evade by giving you too much agility, and he's working, especially in raids and some stuff like that. So it's another character that will increase in the tier list because of how he became more useful, since some strategies don't work anymore. On release, yeah, it was not so good because you still could use stuff that you used before, but now it's different. A character that people still make comments was Taria, that I overpeated in order to get, and she proved to be so useful in World Tower, and World Tower is so amazing. Although a little repetitive, the enemies had too much HP, but people said it was because of the design in JP. They didn't think people would beat. I was one of the only ones to get to the tops, not just one of the only ones. I think there was plenty of people, but it was a real challenge. So pretty fun as well. Having characters that will work for very specific scenarios, it's also something that I like. I like to have specialists. There is Global X Mikhail, that's another character that I won't stop using. I have plenty of good Dexterity characters, and this one is just so good because he self-heals, self-buffs. He got like Speed Plus as well, but I don't have the version that gives it. So I'm waiting for a rerun of that style. Dora just don't stop being useful as well. Depends on the content, but Thunderblow is just so powerful, and then at least he can use another AoE on turn 3. Way better than the other dragon that we already knew about that. Wayne was only helpful one event since he got released. All the other ones he was just surpassed by so many other styles. Liza still does a lot of damage on turn 3, and I got her like 1 year ago. Almost 1 year ago, yes. I got Sarui, like I said. I'm really trying to max this guy to have fun because it's a pretty different mechanic and strategy than some other damage dealers, although it relies on RNG. A character I stopped using almost entirely is Acelus, and I still use her here and there just to have the character ready for when it comes, but yeah, we have better intelligence buffer most of the time, especially Global X Rock Bouquet, and as a damage dealer, she just can't compare to the new characters at all. I use it in some scenarios. Halloween Cat, not as much as I would think, but I do believe that she can still be useful in the future. I want to play a little more with Ottoman because this guy here is very useful for a Platinum style, and he is probably one of the best ones for those that lack premium debuffers. And I do believe that with Ottoman and also with Xiao, people can clear some contents that were not beaten by Platinum or just freestyles. Pretty nice. I got a version of Vampire Lady and, well, I don't use her at all. Another character that I barely use anymore is Barthélemy. I use his second version more often than the other because of Flame Magic debuffing STR for raids sometimes, because debuffing the damage will just increase your survivability, and the recent raids were a little impactful. Some people were not believing that we could defeat, but the developers gave us 5,000 tickets to defeat. Silver is becoming less and less useful, that's interesting as well, but when she's useful, well, sometimes she solves problems, especially on Final Island, but I don't use her as much anymore. Elisabetta doesn't use as much as anymore. The same case, I knew that I would stop using her along the way. Wagner's, I barely use him again. I knew that I would eventually just stop using him as much, but he became very useful for plenty of situations, especially on War Tower. I believe that when War Tower is here again, he can become useful. Wagner's inflicts status ailments, and we will have plenty of stages that will need that. I got the recent version of Boston that sometimes I play with, and it's a little better than I thought, but depends a lot of energy as well. But not so bad. I wish I had the other one that has the Shenlong Fist. That's an amazing attack. Here we have Leonardo. This Leonardo here, I knew that he was good, but by knowing that he's limited as well, I mean limited in his functionality, I didn't give him too much credit, but I have been using him more than I thought. Leonardo is helping a lot. Besides his characters, Genie I stopped using a while, Mirza I still use, but I didn't train him, I don't know why. I barely use my Therese, which is not as bad as you think. Liz, I stopped using Liz in a while. I also didn't get the new versions, and now that I have the new Forneus, that has a pretty powerful turn 1 nuke, I'll barely have a usage for this Liz. I need to get a new one. Don't use Getter, don't use Judy. We need a new version of Judy. Well, I guess that's it. I'm not seeing many other styles that I have been using. Cordelia, wish they released a new version of Cordelia. They failed to get the 8 art, but it's okay. These are the characters that I have been using. Well, Albert's still being useful a lot in Conquest because of his AoE heal, but besides that, not as much. Another character that I use more than I thought was Princess Lion, but that's because there's something that I didn't understand about Savage Lion. It does not need to go first, and I didn't notice that. You just need to have Final Impress. It's still a character that needs too much of a help to work as intended, but if you have Final Impress with Princess Lion, sometimes she can counter more often than the other options like Urpina and Forneus, although I still prefer them. Urpina also is a very nice damage dealer, like a Golden Lion. Golden Lion is just for counter, nothing else. Her AoE potential is not as much as the other characters that you can use as well. Jamie will use it more than I thought as well, way more than Claudia, and people said that Claudia was better, but because Claudia lacked a double S weapon, Jamie took the front lines for most time, and now when I want to use Claudia, I use a new one. So UDX Claudia was only for that. And I guess since it's the characters that I have been using, one of the strongest Platinums I have been using is Crane, the other one is Mei Ling, and then Sif. Yeah, those are the most useful Platinum styles I have been using. And I also got this new version of Annie, and I want to play with her a little more, but it's been neglected by me. Well, talking about formations, I always talk about the formations that I have been using to compare what I was using before and how the game changed in the guard. We should see on the dojo. There are plenty of good formations, and let's not here. And some of them just are so useful that I barely use some others. You can't compare the STR based ones with Amazon Raid X. That one is an amazing formation, and now I don't use, like, let's see, I don't use Dragon Strike anymore. Plenty of the formations here on the top are not being used for me anymore. I still use Tiger Zen on boss fights, Tiger Shark for counter, but now we have a new counter one for multi-counter. That's a very amazing one, but depends on the content. Amazon Raid X being used a lot, and for spear users, for sword users and the likes. It's pretty nice to have a slot where you know that the action order will be increased. Very nice to have formations like what we used to do with Rainbow Rangers. On the agility position, we always determined which character will go first, but it was always martial artists. Now I have more diversity to build squads. This is amazing. Scatter is pretty fun to use, but I don't use it as much because it relies too much on martial artists, and well, you have to have plenty of different ones for that. And Deadly Pierce X, I really love Deadly Pierce X because it increases the action order of 2 different slots, and also makes the slot number 1 a little more tanky with pre-action defense boost. I still use it in my stream, but I don't like it as much. As you can see here, my stream is a mage setup, but it's becoming old. We need something else. But the most used ones are Deadly Pierce X, Amazon Raid X, and Rainbow Rangers. Those are the formations that I use the most. And then after that is Tiger Shark, Tiger's Dance, Scattered, and Anime String. All the other ones are neglected. Besides, oh, of course, Rapid String. I still use that one for, well, farming and learning skills sometimes. So that's it, guys. I got plenty of new styles since the last update. We cleared plenty of challenges. I still didn't beat any type of event besides World Tower, yeah, because no one beat that to the last point because it was impossible. But I won against every single event that they throw on us. They are increasing the difficulty of the stages of the boss fights, relying on specific characters more than before. But I kind of understand why they do that. They want people to just have more diversity, summon for more characters, especially specialists. I know some people don't like that, but you cannot just focus on 10 units and think that you can beat everything in the game with just 10 units. And also this game does not punish you by not clearing some content. But I guess that's it, guys. I just want to thank you for watching this video. It's been a fun journey. We are reaching almost 2 years of romancing SaGa UniverSe. And it's all possible just because of the help of the community and the people that comment on the videos and click the like button. If you do it now, it will be so fun as well. And tomorrow we have another video. But for now, thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.